So we just talked about Cory Booker and how he got Medicare for all completely wrong, namely that to him it's not Medicare for all, it's Medicare for some, apparently. And that's the wrong attitude. It's simply the wrong attitude. So Kamala Harris had this to say about it. Let's go ahead and go to the clip. Let's just hear what she has to say on Medicare for All when asked to clarify her position from the town hall, where she said that, quote, let's eliminate all of that and move on when talking about the private insurers, or ostensibly talking about the private insurers. So let's see how she clarifies this.
I think the last time I saw you was the town hall. I want to ask you about something you said that night. You said on stage with me in January that when it comes to private insurance, quote, let's eliminate all of that, let's move on.
Yes.
Now, you later said we don't need to get rid of all private insurance. So,
but let's clear that.
Which is it exactly?
We were together.
Yes.
And you'll remember and roll the tape, please.
Yeah, we can roll the tape. Well, you support the Bernie Sanders bill, which essentially gets rid of insurance.
I support Medicare for all, but I really do need to clear up what happened on that stage.
Okay.
It was in the context of saying, let's get rid of all the bureaucracy. Let's get all of the ways.
Oh, not the insurance companies.
No, that's not what I meant. I know it was interpreted that way. If you watch the tape, I think you'll see that there are obviously many interpretations of what I said. What I meant is let's get rid of the bureaucracy. As it relates to Medicare.
But the bill gets rid of insurance.
But no. It does not get rid of insurance. It does not get rid of insurance.
He's such a nuanced troll,
listen,
dude.
and let me just tell you where I am. Let's tell you where I am.
All right.
I support Medicare for all. It is my preferred
As a principle, you mean, not Bernie Sanders' bill?
I support the bill.
Okay.
I support the bill.
Well, because the bill gets rid of private insurance for everything that
it doesn't get rid of supplemental insurance.
Right, for cosmetic surgery, but for all...
So it doesn't get rid of all insurance.
Okay, it doesn't get rid of all insurance, but for all essential health care benefits.
But why? Ask the question why. The question, the answer to that question is because Medicare for all and the vision of what it will be includes an expansion of coverage. So Medicare for all will include vision, it'll include dental, it'll include hearing aids.
There are a lot of members of unions, for example, who like their private insurance and the plans that have been negotiated on their behalf and don't want that replaced.
Well, listen, let me just tell you something. I completely agree with those members of organized labor who have negotiated for plans and have in those negotiation processes often given up what could have been higher wages in exchange for a higher coverage for health care. And we have to address that. It's a legitimate concern which must be addressed.
The bill also says, quote, every individual who is a resident of the United States is entitled to benefits for health care services under this act. Not every individual who's a citizen, but every individual who's a resident. So you support giving universal health care, Medicare for all, to people who are in this country illegally?
Let me just be very clear about this. I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health, period.
5 for fucking 5, dude. Every single point she made there, just about every point she made there, even though she kind of gave into his framing a little bit, every single core point that she made there was absolutely spot on. And I hate saying this because I am not voting for Kamala Harris. I don't think that you should vote for Kamala Harris. I don't support her. I actually think she is a snake in the grass. But I'm calling it like I see it. Every point she made there was spot on, and she fucking nailed this question, and it's truly unfortunate. She's dangerously correct on this. And let's go through this point by point, and let me explain to you exactly what I mean here. But this is why I think she is one of the establishment people that is going to be a danger, all right, to the real leftists that are in this movement, that are really trying to make change, and the people that you at least could trust more than she, right? People that you know are going to really fight like hell to get this legislation passed. She is not, okay? And I'll get to that point. But every single point she made there. First point, her original point was let's eliminate all that and move on in the town hall, basically implying no private insurance, fuck it, get it out of here. It's pointless, okay? Health is something you take off the table, and it should be single payer. All right, that's basically what she implied there. But now when she gets her to clarify, her point is supplemental is still on the table. Medicare for all means an expansion in coverage, including vision, dental, hearing aids. She could have gone on to say mental health. Okay, that's included. And I mean, that's exactly what you should say in response to this is, if you're rich, fine, buy all the supplemental coverage you want. But we are going to cover everyone under a expanded plan, an extensive plan that gives you everything you could ever need as a person, right? Vision, dental, health, you got prescriptions are covered in there. In some Medicare for all, or in some single-payer countries, they don't cover prescriptions. You got to pay for them. I recently learned in Canada, you got to pay for the ambulance ride. What the fuck's up with that? And in Canada, I think they also don't have dental. So this is an extensive plan that covers everything, and it's totally doable, as is shown around the world. And she nails that answer, right? Supplemental still on the table. Medicare for all means an expansion in coverage for everybody, all right? Tapper grills her on union members. Oh, some union members, dude, like some union members, they really like their private insurance and they don't want it replaced. They don't want it replaced, man. And she comes back and says, no, they just like being covered. They like their doctors. And this is something Bernie says a lot. No, they like their doctors. They like their doctors, okay? And she doesn't say that specifically, but she says they like being covered. And in some cases, in their negotiations, they give up better wages in order to get the decent healthcare coverage that they do have. And they're still probably underinsured compared to other countries, right? I know a lot of people in this country who are vastly underinsured. They get cancer and they're still paying half of it out of pocket. And it's egregious, you know? They would never get away with this in other countries, all right? So that point was really good. That was a really strong point. Many unions, I mean, in fact, Tapper is just totally fucking wrong here. Most unions that I've seen take a stance on Medicare for all are overwhelmingly in support. I can give you a list right now of unions that I know have either led complete support or the leadership of these unions have led tentative support, right? National Nurses United, that's a big one. That's the largest nurses union in the entire country. American Postal Workers Union, Amalgamated Transit Union, International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Civil Service Employees Association, International Federation of Professional and Technical Engineers, the U.S., one of the U.S. branches of that, Utility Workers Union, New York State Nurses Association, United Electrical, United Mine Workers of America. That's just the ones I could find, right? And Tapper is just totally wrong. Most unions are fully in support. They're in support of this. It expands your coverage and you pay less. Who wouldn't be? If you're on the side of workers, this is a no-brainer issue. And Tapper is just hugely missaying, oh, well, some union workers, they don't want to lose their coverage they currently have. What will you do to help them? Man, fuck off. Fuck off. That's all I can say. So Tapper then, at the very end, and this was what really shocked me, okay? Because I never in a million years expected her to give such a straightforward, direct, and just crystal clear, perfect response to this question. Tapper asks her, what about covering illegal immigrants? This bill just talks about, you know, just residents of the U.S., not specifically citizens of the U.S., so you're going to cover illegal? You're going to cover other human beings that don't happen to be American citizens? As if, like, other, like, people that come in from other countries are, like, Yetis or fucking wildebeests or something. Like, they're not human beings, you know? And I'm sorry, but in this country, if you're going to have human rights that you give to citizens, they should be human rights, not American rights. They should be human rights. That's how I see it. That's how my moral compass works, all right? And I happen to be on the side of what she says here. Her statement is, and I quote, I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being access to public safety, public education, and public health, period. That is exactly the correct response. I could not have worded that better if I tried, ladies and gentlemen. That is, I'm sorry, but God damn it, man. God fucking damn it. She fucking nailed this, man. And it is a shame because she is a horrible candidate. I mean, she's not the worst. Granted, she may be in like the top 12 or something, but she is not a candidate that would be in my top 5, you know, not my top 8. Okay, she is definitely corrupt, and I'm getting there, okay? Let's move on to her record. She got that completely right, but her record is anything but right. So just looking at some of the issues that have plagued her campaign and her or her previous campaigns and how she has viewed issues in the past, it's deeply problematic. I know that word's kind of out of vogue at this point, but what else can I call it? She refused to prosecute, and this is the big one, Steve Mnuchin of One West Bank, despite overwhelming evidence of predatory activity during the subprime mortgage crisis. So, oopsie. That's like a pretty big one. That's a pretty big one. Kicking grandmas out of their homes prematurely. Pretty big one. So she sided with predatory financiers, okay? Initially didn't support legalizing cannabis. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think she actually laughed about this issue as if it was a pie in the sky, like silly proposal or once upon a time. I may be confusing her for somebody else. But when she finally did start supporting cannabis legalizing, she refused to co-sponsor any bills on it for like ever. I don't know if she has now, but I'm seeing articles as recently as 2018 where people are begging her, you said you're going to support this, sign on to a bill, co-sponsor a bill, put your fucking name down, put your money where your mouth is. Just wasn't doing it. Harris was one of the tough on crime Democrats. She was really big on supporting cops and coming to the aid of cops. Under her watch, felony charges increased, and she bragged about it. She pushed heavy anti-truancy laws that would charge parents, and I'm kind of mixed on this. I don't know how I feel about this, but she wanted to, or she either did or wanted to charge parents of children who didn't show up for school, were like truant consistently, wanted to charge them with misdemeanor and massive fines of over $2,000 if I'm not mistaken. So she was a very tough on crime Democrat. She was very supportive of cops and protective of cops, and she routinely talked about it and talked about how she's not one of these hippy dippy, bleeding heart liberals. And now she's done a complete 180, and I'm like the most progressive person ever in the whole fucking world. So don't believe a goddamn word of it. She is doing this because she knows it's popular within the Democratic Party. She knows that people in the Democratic Party have come to Jesus on many of these issues, and that the base is not what the base used to be 20 or 30 years ago. It's not 1990 anymore. And she knows this, okay? And she is changing her opinions to suit that. But she's not changing her donors to suit that, because let's get to her donors. So first of all, the biggest one was the University of California. Now, I don't know what's going on with this, okay? I couldn't find any details on this as to, these are individual contributors, large individual contributors. So are these, deans and professors, or are they students, or what? It just says $100 and something thousand from University of California. And I just happened to notice when I go to that school and I look at, and by the way, this is a school that rakes in billions of dollars every year. Billions. This is a big school, right? And I go to that school's donation record, and I see at the very top some of the worst Democrats, okay? Doug Jones, Claire McCaskill, Beto O'Rourke. All of these are Democrats that I have massive problems with, all right? So that's kind of questionable. I don't know the specifics on that, but it seems questionable to me. Warner Media, Alphabet, that's Google, 21st Century Fox, Apple, Disney, Venable LLP. So these are some very questionable donors. How much do you think she's going to fight on issues of antitrust when Google is one of the biggest fucking companies on the face of the earth? And if you think that Google is not a serious risk to dialogue, especially in the form of what we're doing right now, video content, Google has a virtual monopoly. I don't know if you noticed, a virtual monopoly on, bite-sized video content, on the releasing of 10-minute, 15-minute videos. Yeah, there's Twitch, there's other streaming services, but the type of video service that YouTube is, it is virtually uncontested in. It is virtually uncontested in. I would like to see you give me any evidence contrary to that. And I think 21st Century Fox was recently acquired by some larger company. So there's serious questions in terms of the donors. But honestly, guys, it doesn't matter what donors you're taking money from. If you're taking money from large corporations in the form of tens of thousands of dollars, in some cases $100,000 or more dollars, I don't care who it's from. I don't care if it's from a fucking pillow factory. It means you're representing them and not me. So that's enough to not vote for you. So Kamala Harris, great answers, but I still am not going to vote for you. But great answers. And to all the other, my parting thought on this is that Bernie, Gabbard, Yang, this is exactly how you need to answer this question. No caveats, just straightforward. This is how it should be. And honestly, that's the position of the American people. So just hold to it. Just firmly hold to it. And I know Bernie's going to, but anyone who wants to have any chance of being the nominee over Bernie, you got to come with that same fire, man. You got to come with that same fire. Bernie is showing you the way, but honestly, Bernie is my guy right now. So just keep doing what you do, man. And Kamala Harris, go away. Cory Booker, go away. Seth Moulton, go away. We're getting to him next.